What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Barndo Life and to the ultimate Barndominium build guide. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about more specifically about how to choose your land. So if you're planning to build a barndominium, choosing the right land might be the most important decision you will ever make. Because here's the truth. You can fix a floor plan, you can change finishes, and you can upgrade materials. But if you buy the wrong land, it can cost you tens of thousands of dollars before you even start building. So in this episode, we're going to break down exactly how to choose the right land for a barndominium and the biggest mistakes that people make when buying property. So let's get into it. All right, number one, we have to make sure barndominiums are allowed. Before you even think about buying land, the first thing you need to check is the zoning laws. Not every county allows barndominiums as primary residences. I'll tell you what happened to us. So when we bought our land here, we pretty much spent our life savings on it. We bought 4¼ acres, and then we found out that zoning only allowed residences on 5 acres and more. So it was a pain going through the city and the county to get a variance. We had to go to 2 different boards. They sent a letter out to the neighbors here, so they come out and either support it or against it. We had some people that came out and didn't want us to build a house. I don't know the reason, but anyway. So some areas classify them as agricultural buildings, metal structures, or even just accessory buildings. So you got to make sure that you always call the local planning or zoning department and ask these 3 things: are barndominiums allowed here? What building codes do apply to them? And is there a minimum square footage requirement? I've said it before in my videos. The county that I live in, you need a minimum of 500 square feet before you even build anything. This one phone call can save you a massive headache at the end. A lot of land looks cheap online, but sometimes there's a reason it's cheap. Is it because utilities aren't there yet? And bringing utilities to your property can get expensive very fast. So these are the things you need to check right away. Is electricity nearby? Will you need a well for water? Will you need a septic system? And is internet available? I needed all of that. And we had no internet available here. We had to go with T-Mobile, which was kind of sucky. For the past month now, we had a company come through, and they finally installed some fiber. So they ran fiber to the house, and the internet is great now, but we didn't have it when we moved in here. Running power lines alone can cost you thousands of dollars depending on distance. If you need a pole, I know that here in this area, it's about 10 grand just to run a pole for the power company to come out. So always ask the seller or county about utility access before buying the land. Another very important thing to check for before you buy your land, check for flood zones. Flood zones matter more than most buyers really realize. So if the land sits in a flood-prone area, you could face higher insurance costs, building restrictions, required elevation changes. Here, we're sitting in a flood zone, so we had to get flood insurance, and I elevated the final grade of the house 4 feet above the road. It cost me more money. It cost me about $26,000 just in dirt. So that's a cost that I didn't realize I was going to get. So make sure you check that. So in some cases, lenders may even hesitate financing the build if it's in a flood zone. You can check flood zones online through FEMA maps or your county planning office. Always verify before closing on land. If you're installing a septic system, and many rural barndominiums do, well, you're going to need a perk test. A perk test determines whether the soil can properly absorb wastewater. If the soil fails the test, installing a septic becomes much more complicated and expensive. The water table here at our house is very high. So our drain field is about 4 feet above the ground. I have a big mountain. So sometimes it requires engineered systems that cost 15 to 30 grand more than the initial cost. Here in this area, it's between 20 to 30 grand just for a septic system, plus the 15 and 30 that I just finished telling you about if it needs an engineered system. Before buying land, confirm that septic approval is possible. You're going to have to pay for that yourself. Another hidden cost is access to the property. You need to ask yourself, is there an existing driveway? Do you need culverts installed? Will land clearing be required? All of that costs money. Building a long gravel driveway alone can cost several $1,000s depending on length and terrain. This is something many buyers overlook. I did. Before you buy land, make sure that you look at surrounding properties. You also want to think about what's around you. This is what you need to check for. Nearby farms or livestock, the smells, future developments, industrial areas, busy highways, that can always affect the property value. So the property might look perfect today, but surrounding land can change the experience of living there. You need to think about resale value. Even if you plan to stay forever in your new barndominium that you're going to build, resale value still matters. Land that's easier to sell usually has good road access, preferably paved roads, available utilities, desirable location, nearby comparable homes. Avoid extremely isolated properties unless that's truly your goal. If you want to be in the boonies, it's on you. Future buyers will consider the same things you should be considering right now before you buy your land. Here's a smart strategy many builders follow. Buy land before designing your barndominium. That way, you can design the home based on the slope of the property, the views, the sun direction, which is very important, and access points to your property. Designing around the land almost always creates a better result. And finally, choosing the right land can make your barndominium build a lot easier, cheaper, and much less stressful. That's very important. Take the time to research zoning, utilities, soil conditions, and access before you buy. In the next episode, we're going to be talking about designing the perfect barndominium floor plan and how smart design choices can save you thousands during construction. If this video helped you, please hit that like button, subscribe, and welcome to Barndo Life. Build smart, live different. See you next time.